Do you say yes when you really mean no? Are your boundaries up for negotiation? Do people think you're a pushover? Do you say yes to avoid conflict? If you answered yes to any of those, more than likely you're an Enneagram Type 9. So welcome to my latest video, Confessions of Type 9, the Peacemaker. Today's video is all about boundaries, saying no, being able to say no, and yes, my confession is I have been struggling with this so much in the last month or so. If you're new here, I'm Hillary, your certified Enneagram life coach, and I love to teach the Enneagram in the simplest and easiest way possible. And I have two types of videos. One is just regular teaching videos, and the other is this kind of video where I go a little deeper in what it's like to be a Type 9, and usually I have a confession of my own. And so, like I said, today's confession is, I think my boundaries have been very flexible lately, and that's definitely not always a good thing for a Type 9. Okay, so let's start with, are your boundaries up for negotiation? When I thought about that, I was like, ooh, mine can be sometimes, definitely. I feel like I have good intentions. I go into things going like, yep, I'm gonna have a really strong boundary here, and then I get into the situation, and a lot of times my boundaries kind of do go up for negotiation, and I lately have really struggled with that. And so that is something that I am working on currently today, this month. I've definitely been working on this and have some good nuggets to share with you guys. So before I get into that though, I want to ask you, what does it feel like for you to think that people might think you're a pushover? Because I know for me, that kind of makes me angry. I don't want to be known as a pushover. Yeah, I'm easygoing, I'm flexible, I'm go with the flow, but I definitely don't want to be known as a pushover. That kind of hurts my feelings. The next thing is that question that I said at the beginning is, do you say yes when you really mean no? Guilty as charged. Literally guilty as charged. I'm not always aware that I want to say no. A lot of times I'm just like, yeah, sure, no problem. I could do that. But later on, I realize oh, I don't want to do that, or, I don't have the energy to do that, or something like that. And so I definitely can relate with you guys if that's something that you struggle with. It's something I struggle with too. And the last one is, do you say yes to avoid conflict? And this is the one where I'm going to go a little deeper in, because I really think that we struggle to say no to avoid conflict. So we say yes so there's no conflict, because usually a yes doesn't lead to conflict, but a no can lead to conflict. And so since our core fear is conflict, one of them, right, and loss and separation from other people in our relationships, saying no, we sometimes can believe the lie that if we do say no, then we will lose them, or we will cause conflict that leads to losing them. I just feel like that can be a lie that we can believe. And so I think it's important for us to learn from each other and go, okay, what does that really look like in your life? Think about it. What does that look like? What does your yeses look like? What does your nos look like? And where I want you to go with that one is to ask yourself, when you're saying yes to avoid conflict with the other person, does it instead cause conflict within yourself? Because that's what happens to me. I might give you a yes, but internally I'm like, no, I don't have the energy. I don't want to do that. And it causes this sort of conflict within myself. And so at the sake of no conflict with them, I'm taking on conflict within myself. And that's not okay either, right? Because what does that do? That causes us to lose that internal peace that we're constantly seeking. And so what I'm doing, and what I want you to do, is to work on your yeses being a real yes and your no's being a no, and realizing that you can say no. Or this is what I've been doing, is saying, you know what, let me think about that and get back to you. Because we don't owe anyone an explanation. We don't owe somebody a, you know what, I have this going on, or I have this going on, right? That's kind of like an explanation. You can give it if you want to, but you don't owe somebody that. I think it's okay to step back from the situation and go, let me think about that. Let me look at my calendar. Let me see if that's something I have the space to do, I have the bandwidth to do, or anything like that. That's what I've been practicing as I've been struggling with this lately, is asking myself, or is telling the person yeah, let me get back to you. And then taking an honest look at, do I have enough time, energy, and space to say yes? And so that my yeses are a real yes. Because people do want your yeses to be a real yes. They don't really want you to do it even if you don't want to do it. And so that's something I've learned the hard way. And hopefully this video will help you guys kind of bypass that a little bit if you can, and kind of fast track to, you know what, asking yourself, what is my real answer here? The other thing I want to bring up, it's kind of like a little side note, is do you ever feel like when people ask you to do something, they should have not asked you and it makes you mad because you're like, they would know I wouldn't want to do that and they still asked me? Because that's happened to me where somebody will ask me to do something, I don't know, but I know that they would know I wouldn't want to do that. And then I've got angry, like, oh, I'm so angry. They shouldn't have asked me. And I think in the end, that boils down to, I need to have the courage to tell them no and not let it lead to resentment, because that's what happens, guys, is it leads to resentment. If you feel backed in the corner and you feel like you can only say yes, so you say yes, what's going to happen? Resentment can start to boil up and overflow, and you're gonna maybe even anger that you're like, I didn't even know this anger was here. Or you get angry about something that you normally would never be angry about. Why? Because you've got a hidden emotion behind that trying to get out. And so look for all of those signs, and then also work on not being mad if somebody asks you to do something that you're like, they pushed me in the corner and I didn't want to say yes. Have the courage to step into potential conflict. That's what I've worked on, is just stepping into it and having a real conversation and letting the person know, is it a yes or is it a no? So anyways, I hope this helped you today. I hope that this gave you a little bit more clarity on being a 9 and what it's like and the struggles of a 9, because we do struggle with saying no. We do want to please everybody. We have that in us. And sometimes we could be people pleasers, and our desires can be really good of wanting to do stuff, but it's not always a good thing, you know? So work on not feeling like you always have to say yes, if that makes sense. Let me know in the comments below if you're 9 wing 8 or a 9 wing 1. And if it's hard for you to say no, because I would love to know if that makes a difference at all. And if you don't know your wing, I have a video covering the wings already. The 9 wings, I'll link that right here, and I'll link that down below in the description box. Go give that a watch if you don't know your wing, and then let me know your type and your wing, and if you struggle saying no. And then also if you're not a 9 and you're watching this, because I know a lot of you watch my confessions of a Enneagram Type 9, to understand the people, the 9s in your life and different things like that. So if you're not a 9, let me know your type. And if you do struggle saying no, I'd love to know how many of the types do struggle with this and what's their why. So what's your why? If you do feel like you struggle with saying no, why is that? So anyways, that's all I have for today, guys. Super quick video. Just wanted to kind of jump on here and let you know that that's my latest confession, that I have struggled to say no lately, and I'm a work in progress, and it's okay. I'm giving myself grace in this, and that's what I would love for you. Give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up, but just take these little nuggets and tuck it into your mind, where you're like, you can pull on it when you need it. So, and the last thing I want to let you guys know is, if you don't know your type and you've got to the end of this and you're like, wait, I watched this, but I'm not for sure of my type or my wing or anything like that, I offer a Discover You typing session. It's a 1-hour Zoom call with me, and I will put all of that information in the description box below if you want more information on how to hire me. But that's all I have for today. Until next time, bye guys.